woman is in the spotlight tonight after being mentioned in Justin Trudeau's victory speech. Of the hundreds of people he met throughout the campaign, the Prime Minister-designate singled her out.
Last week, I met a young mum in St. Catharines, Ontario. She practices the Muslim faith and was wearing a hijab. She made her way through the crowd and handed me her infant daughter. And as she leaned forward, she said something that I will never forget. She said she's voting for us because she wants to make sure that her little girl has the right to make her own choices in life and that her government will protect those rights.
And CP24's Courtney Heels is in Hamilton with this woman and joins us now live. Good evening, Courtney.
Good evening. We have Sadia Ahmed with us here. As you mentioned, we are in Hamilton. Certainly an honor, Sadia, to know that the Prime Minister-designate mentioned you during his victory speech last night. What was that like for you?
We were honored. We were surprised, touched, and I couldn't believe it that he actually remembered us. And I'm pretty sure that he will be a good Prime Minister for us. If he can remember my request out of so many requested that people have made to him, and the promises he made with the people, I'm pretty sure. Like, you know, I was touched and I was excited. I couldn't believe on my ear. It was a very excited night. That Liberal win, that was my party. And then obviously he mentioned about my baby in his speech. I was very touched and very excited.
Of course. Now let's talk a little bit about that speech. So the Prime Minister-designate mentioned you out of, he said, thousands of stories. I could only imagine how many people spoke with him. What was it like to know that your story really connected with him so much so that he felt he had to share that with the rest of the country?
I felt honored and I was surprised. And I just wanted to thank you. Thank you, Mr. Trudeau, for remembering us and giving this honor to my son, my little baby. And then I'm pretty sure that you will be a great Prime Minister for this country and you will fulfill everybody's dreams, especially the people have hopes for him. And I'm pretty sure he will. If he can remember my speech, my request, and out of that crowd, it was very loud there. We were outside of the cafe and he just came out of the bus. He saw like I'm trying to give him my baby. He held my baby. There was no volunteer, no assistant. He just took my baby from my hand. He held him. And then he gave back and I said what he's mentioned in his speech, and that just make my baby a first-class citizen and about his rights in this country. And he says he'll do his best. Wonderful. And he was very respectful and I was very touched.
And quickly, just before we send back to the newsroom, your baby is a boy. This is Omar, but at the time you mentioned it was very busy. Mr. Trudeau only had a moment to connect with you and your child.
So and he was dressed like in a very red dress, so maybe that's why it was a little bit confusion. That is a baby doll. No, he's a baby boy.
But and the words he spoke last night during those speeches, they were yours.
Yes, it was my words. And I'm very thankful to him, thankful for Liberal Party. Thank you for CTV. That's the TV. We watched the results and we were sitting and watching, and all of a sudden, like in his victory speech, I was like, wow.
Yeah, my
goodness, is he talking about us? And my husband was with me and we were looking at each other and the rest of the family and we're like, oh my God, he remembers us. And yes, and it mattered a lot to me, and I'm pretty sure